Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, great for recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with anybody you think might get something out of it. How is everybody today, guys? Starting the video a little bit late today. I end up having a late work day, and some guys, life in recovery is amazing, but it's not perfect. And you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to have people that will try your patience. And today was one of those days where I had people trying my patience all day. A couple of people. I was forced to deal with tenants, realtors, just unrealistic. And in the past, there's no way I would have made it through the day without absolutely snapping. I mean, I had people asking me questions and then not letting me answer them, just being incredibly rude. Yeah, and you know what? Rather than feeding into it, I got a good chuckle out of it. Realized, hey, I'm getting paid to do all this. The day will end. As I stopped to do a little grocery shopping, I forgot they are grinding the street that I live off of. So it was literally an extra hour of sitting in traffic to get a quarter mile up the street. And again, I put on a good video and I had a good chuckle. Guys, life is never going to be perfect. It's not supposed to be. What you're supposed to do is learn to deal, learn to pivot, not let things get the best of you, and just try to be your best self and find the good in everything. And at the end of the day, I wrote a couple of big bills to those people who were driving me crazy all day, and it ended up being a pretty good day. Guys, we're going to get into the reading today. Ironically, it's titled Not Perfect. It's just for today and a meditation. Not perfect. We are not perfect. We are not going to be perfect. If we were perfect, we would not be human. All of us had expectations about life and recovery. Some of us thought recovery would suddenly make us employable or able to do anything in the world we wanted to do. Or maybe we imagined perfect ease in our interactions with others. When we stop and think, we realize that we expected recovery would make us perfect. We didn't expect to continue making many mistakes, but we do. We didn't expect to continue making many mistakes, but we do. That's not the addict side of us showing through, that is being human. In recovery, we strive for living clean, not perfection. The only promise we are given is freedom from active addiction. Perfection is not an attainable state for human beings. It is not a realistic goal. What we often seek in perfection is freedom from making mistakes. In return for that freedom from discomfort, we trade our curiosity, our flexibility, and our room to grow. We can consider the trade. Do we want to live our lives in our well-defined little world, safe but stifled? Or do we wish to venture out into the unknown, take a risk, and reach for everything life has to offer? And then the affirmation is, just for today, I want all that life has to offer and all that recovery can provide. Today I will try something new, I will take a risk, and I will grow. That pretty much sums it up pretty well, guys. Life isn't perfect. That's why we have the expression "life on life's terms" that you hear me talk about so often. Life isn't supposed to be perfect. If we were never challenged, if we never made mistakes, guys, we learn the most from our mistakes. We get more knowledge from the mistakes that we make, and again, it's a matter of how you react to them. I'm perfectly willing to make a mistake today, but I pay attention to it. I try to learn from it. I try to be introspective about it and analyze it afterwards and figure out how. Because sometimes you're just gonna make mistakes, but I try to learn from my mistakes today, and then try to grow from that so that I don't continue to repeat them. Because that's the difference today, guys. We're always going to make mistakes. The mistakes I make today have so much less weight carrying them. The mistakes I used to make used to land me in jail, used to get me addicted to drugs, used to, leave me isolated from friends and family and anybody that I cared about. I literally had to shut out everybody. I don't have to do that today, guys. When I make a mistake today, it's, I put the, I didn't solder a joint fully, and I got to reheat it and add a little more solder, or, I put a screw in and I didn't catch the stud behind it. Those are the mistakes I make today. It's things that are very easily rectifiable. And again, I'm okay with that. Now, if I put 3 screws in and miss the stud, instead of just keep randomly throwing screws at it, I'll stop and reassess. Did I line up my studs? Am I off? Am I looking at something different? Just an example to let you know, guys. If you're seeing repeating patterns of the mistakes, then you need to stop, reassess what it is that you're doing. We're doing something wrong. I'm not calling you out. We all make mistakes, but you don't have to repeat the same mistakes. And again, if we strive to never make a mistake, then what that does is it puts us into not reaching for anything outside of our comfort zone. And it's when we step outside of our comfort zone that we learn and we grow and we expand and we become better people and we become, you make more money, you get more resources, you meet new people. Like, I love stepping out of my comfort zone, knowing full well that I don't have all the answers. Now, the next step with that, guys, is again, don't be afraid to make mistakes, but at the same time, start applying these spiritual principles to your life. And that's one thing I've done really, really well. I never expect to stop making mistakes, because if I did, that means I'm not trying, guys. I'm not out here trying to do things that are outside of my comfort zone. I'm not trying to improve myself, and I'm not taking big enough risks. If I'm not making any mistakes, I'm not taking any risks. And you got to take some risks. Now, again, calculated risk, guys. I'm not risking my life over some unknown substance in a bag that may or may not be tainted. I'm not risking my future by breaking laws. Like, I'm not going to the casino and gambling away all the money that I've saved and I'm getting ready to invest in a house. Like, those are risks that are the reward is not worth it, right? They are too big a risk. I have too much to lose, and I won't risk things of that nature. But I get calls constantly asking, am I willing to take on a job? Like, I got asked last week if I could take on, finishing somebody else had started a remodel. And again, my first reaction is, oh, somebody else is there. It's a big job. Can I make the time? Yes, I can. And again, rather than just shutting it down and getting anxiety and thinking I'm in them over my head, I said, I didn't lock myself in. I said, let me come and look at it. When I went and looked at it, I realized it's all gonna be done in stages. I'm working, when the tile guys are done, I'll put the toilet in the bathroom. When the cabinet guys are in, I'll do the sink, things of that nature. So I don't have to go there and spend 2 weeks. I can go spend 6 hours here, 4 hours there, and that's how a lot of my day goes. I'm bouncing in and out doing service calls at different places. Putting boilers in is one of the bigger jobs I do, and that's typically a day and a half. So I don't spend weeks in any one job. That's the beauty of it. I bounce around, do a lot of different things. But again, so many people I work with are like, guys will call me up. Hey, you got any work? What are you doing today? Oh, well, today I'm doing a roof. I'm doing a deck on a roof, and tomorrow I'm putting in a boiler, and the next day I'm putting in a bathtub. And the guy's like, well, I thought you did plumbing. No, I do property maintenance. And just because you only know how to do plumbing, tomorrow I might be changing light fixtures somewhere, right? So it's one issue I have as far as bringing people in to do work. I can only bring people in to do specific jobs that I'm doing because I don't know anybody else that does as many things as I do. And that's the beauty, guys. That was a gift I've always had. And I'm not saying this about them, but I'm trying to explain to you guys how you look at your strengths and then find out what makes sense for you. For me, something I've heard over and over and over and over again for the last 15, 20 years is people's people being shocked at my ability to do so many different things, where so many people want to specialize and become an expert in that one thing, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that, providing there's plenty of work for you in that area. For me, I'm capable of doing a lot of things. A lot of things come very natural to me. And again, I didn't run right out and say, oh, I know how to do anything. I'll go into business doing anything. No, I looked at all the stuff I've done over the last 20 years. I've worked for roofing companies. I've done windows. I've done framing. I've done finish carpentry. I've done plumbing. I've done heating. I'm a master certified mechanic. So as I got into the property maintenance, I started working for a lot of landlords that own a lot of property here in the city, and I basically become their I'm not property manager because that includes the rents and paying the bills and utilities, and I don't get into any of that, and that's they have office people for that. But I do remodeling, I do repairs, whether it's an emergency water leak or a water heater goes down or heating system issue, or whatever, shorted a light switch or electrical, or if somebody wants to do a small addition, wants to put on a deck. These are all things that I've got plenty of experience doing. Flooring, I do tile work. So I realized that that's a gift set. That's a direct gift from my higher power, God. He made me capable of all these things that come so natural to me. So rather than specializing in one field, when I get bored doing one thing, I've opened my business doing property maintenance and repair, and it's working out incredibly well because my customers love the fact that they can call me for 99% of anything that goes wrong in their house, and they know full well if it's something I'm not comfortable with, I'll tell them no. I've got so much work that I can't get it all done anyway, so I pick and choose what makes the most sense. And it's not always just the jobs that pay the best, but it's the stuff that is in my wheelhouse, the stuff that I'm good at. And that's how I've been able to do it. And guys, that took confidence. And it also took learning from my mistakes. Believe me, as I was working for other companies, I was not afraid to try something as long as I understood everything involved in it, and I know I could figure it out. Just because I had no experience at it, well, that's how I've learned, guys. Not just book learning, but working with other people, working hard, doing a lot of different things have taught me a lot of different things in this particular genre, and then having the confidence and knowing that God's given me the skill set for a reason. I finally had the self-confidence and the sense of self-worth that I could actually open a business and go out and do this. Guys, I started with basically one customer that wanted to use me, just doing, part-time work for him. And he talked to people and then other people and so and so and so on and so forth. And people I've met over the years. And 6 months later, guys, I'm in a position I never dreamed I'd be in, where I can actually start putting a down payment on a house or rental property. Again, I'm prolonging the rewards. Like, I don't want the instant gratification anymore, and that's what I was before. Before, I would have taken a little bit of money I saved up and run out and bought a new Harley or a new rifle or a new car or a new truck. I love the truck that I have, but it is a 14-year-old truck with 175,000 miles on it. Like, it's not it's not flashy, it's not showy, but it's got a brand new drivetrain, a good running motor. Like, it's perfect. It's not perfect condition, but it's perfect running condition for what I need. It's utility, right? So now I'm saving for a house, and again, not a house for me to live in. My ex-wife, I was talking to her recently, and she's like, "Oh, let's go buy a house in Salem when you buy a house." And I'm like, "You don't understand. I'm not buying a house to go live in comfort. I'm going to stay living in my crappy little apartment because I pay, 2/3 of what each apartment typically rents for. So I'm going to buy a 3-family house, and I'm going to rent all 3 units." She's like, "Oh, well," and instantly no longer interested, right? No, I'm delaying the gratification of the reward, because once I own that first 3-family, I will pay as much on the mortgage as I can each month to knock it down till I have some equity, and as soon as I have enough equity to use that as a down payment on a second 3-family, I'll do that. And then that'll cut the time in half till I can get a third, and then a fourth. And I figure by the time I have about 5 3-family houses, at that point I can live on the rental income and just do the property maintenance and upkeep, and then whatever else time allows for. I'm not locking anything in, but that is my plan. That is my future plan. And I know I'm going to make some mistakes along the way. I'm going to do a job and put something, not solder a joint in, or whatever mistakes going to be made. I make mistakes all the time. I'm not afraid to. The key is, for once in my life, I'm learning from my mistakes, and that's something I didn't used to do. And I'm okay admitting that today, because I've grown, and I understand if I deny that, then I can't look at my past and learn anything from that. Guys, looking at everything from an honest and realistic perspective has made the biggest difference. And again, that was not something I could do in active addiction, because it hurt too much and it was too painful, and it would depress me, and so again, I started making small changes. I started praying, I started meditating, I started going to meetings and listening rather than just waiting to speak, and I started, when I started sharing honestly, guys. In the beginning, if you've been watching my videos from the beginning, you go back and watch those. I literally right here on video started to tell a story from my past, and had to stop halfway through and go, "Wait, no, that's not really what happened. You know what actually happened?" And as I've done these things, guys, I've been able to start making changes in my life. I've been able to start putting things together in my life. And again, I'm not balling by any means. I'm not sitting there trying to say I'm some master of anything. but I'm well on my way. I've made more progress in this last 10, just over 10 months than I made in the last 20 years combined. And it's beautiful, and it's because I've turned my will over to God. I knew the first thing I came to understand when I started getting into recovery and started getting clean was that I had to take accountability for my actions. So I started looking at my actions and I started realizing that it wasn't just using drugs that was wrong. It was the way I was living. It was the way I was thinking. It was the way I was feeling. It was the way I looked at myself. The way I treated myself. The way I treated everybody in the world around me. The way I refused to obey laws and thought that I didn't, laws didn't apply to me and I didn't have to follow this rule and I didn't have to follow this rule because of this. And I understood that was why I couldn't get anywhere. And yet all that time I was out there thinking, oh no, this doesn't count because of this. I let all of that go because as long as you're doing that, as long as I'm sitting there making excuses for the actions I took rather than just owning them and saying, wow, I was really screwed up. Let me change that. Let me try to do better. Let me take one baby step in every moment, guys. And literally, I'd take it to an hour. I'd take it, started with 24 hours. And if that got overwhelming, I was making mistakes, I'd stop and I'd pull it back to an hour and to 10 minutes, to a minute, to 30 seconds, to a second. And I would hold on and I would stay positive for that short period of time, whatever I could hold my attention span and stay positive in. And then and biggest thing, guys, I stopped reacting. I finally got myself to pause, taking a second to play the situation through, play the tape through, as they say. I used to laugh so hard when I heard that. I'm like, oh, who can do that? Well, I learned to do that, and oh my God, it made a difference in my life, guys. And as I did these things, they got to be my baseline and my norm. And suddenly I started learning how to make good decisions, how to not chase that instant gratification and just understand that at the end of the day I could feel good about myself. That was a newfound thing, guys. I used to not go to sleep because I was terrified of how I'd feel when I slowed down, right? I mean, guys, if you guys watch the channel, you know that I was doing drugs around the clock and staying awake for 15, 16 days till I'd finally just drop and I'd be out cold for 3 days and then wake up in a stupor, and it was disgusting. It was amazing. I'm still alive. It's amazing I'm healthy, and that, again, a direct gift from my high power, God. And it's amazing I didn't hurt anybody, and I'm so incredibly grateful for that, because at least I can look back and know I didn't physically, and I'm talking physically, harm somebody, because I was dangerous running around using power tools, playing with people's utilities in their house and driving on the roads, and I had no business doing any of that. And I'm incredibly grateful that I didn't kill anybody, I didn't hurt anybody, I didn't hurt myself. And then I'm able to move forward from that. And again, I don't have to carry any guilt or remorse from that, because I'm making changes and doing better today. That's the beauty of a recovery program, guys. There's a reason I do a different topic every single day. And they're all under the same genre. It's the same thing in a different way. And because I look at it in every different way and then I apply it to my life. Guys, faith without works is dead, right? You've got to look at what's going on. You've got to make better choices, better decisions, and then you have to apply those and follow them through, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it takes longer. A prime example is that when I was offered when I first started doing this, guys, I threw away a good paying job and took a huge risk there, right? But again, on my own, that was going to be a problem. But I spoke my concerns to everybody that would listen. And all of a sudden, I got offers for work. I got offers to use the truck. I got offered from my recovery advisor that there was a program that helped you with back rent. So again, I filled it out and I got denied. And I filled it out again and I got denied. And then I started paying a little more attention. Again, I didn't get, I somehow, because I prayed on it, God had let me know, no, you can do this. If you follow this through, you will get that help. And I didn't get a stimulus check during COVID, right? Like, I didn't think, and my baseline was not getting things. But again, I decided, no, as long as I'm eligible, and they said I was, I just had to get all my ducks in a row, all the paperwork right. I continued coming, continued doing it all right. Didn't lie about a single thing, didn't cheat a single thing. Boom, all of a sudden I got approved, and I got that $6,000 to get me caught up in my back rent. That was huge. Not only to help me with my back rent and get my feet on the ground and get out from under debt, but to give me confidence and show me that if I applied myself, I could do things right. And that's amazing, guys. And and I've taken that and just run with it. That's all you got to do, guys. Just do the best you can. Be the best version of you that's ever walked, and then challenge yourself every day to get a little bit better. Work a little bit harder, a little bit smarter. Life gets so good, guys. And again, it's never going to be perfect, and you're always going to deal with problems, but you can deal with a much better set of problems. I love the set of problems I'm dealing with today compared to what I was dealing with in addiction. Guys, video is getting a little long. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.